get a goal, it's just the beginning. You gotta sing when you're winning, everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. You gotta sing when you're winning. Get a goal, it's just the beginning. Sing, sing when you're winning, everywhere you go.
Hello and welcome to episode 36 of the Sing When You're Winning, a fantasy football league oddity podcast featuring distant cousins of podcast royalty and two very special guests, possibly three. I mean, we're getting carried away here, guys, who we will reveal very shortly. But waiting in line for the podcast to run this week, well, it's just me and Steve. Don't know where everyone else is. I don't know. Did they get excited because Leeds United beat the mighty Middlesbrough last night? Was that it? They got
3-0. 3-0.
I mean, it was 3-0, but fortunately, we had 13 players on our team, and they managed to reduce the score to 1, which I took as a positive.
Shocking. It's 3-0 in the Premier League.
Yeah, 3-0 in the Premier League, 1-0 in the Championship. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
To be honest, everybody else was watching Arsenal, Jamie. So
everyone was. I was gutted as well. Not only did we lose, I'm then seeing that it was the greatest Arsenal win ever, and having to watch Declan Rice's 2 wonder free kicks on delayed after everyone else. But anyway, the joys of Championship football, because Championship is best. But let's have a bit of a quick conversation about one of our SWYW members, Sing When You're Winning members, is in the Big Brother house. Did you know?
We did.
Unbelievable. We did know. It was the worst kept secret on the WhatsApp chat. But yeah, the one and only indeed. He is in. So have you been watching it, Steve?
I've watched it briefly late on, and then I kind of nod off.
Yeah, it's a good show to watch just before you nod off, isn't it? Kind of.
Yeah, I've not seen much of Chesney. I couldn't really. It wasn't seem to be on it much in the last 10 minutes or so. He's maybe just been too quiet or keeping himself out of the way.
Yeah, he's certainly not. But yeah, we need to. I think in the same way we do Come On Bletchley, we need to give a Come On Chesney.
Yes, come on,
cheer him on. Come on, Chesney. Not that he'll ever watch this because I don't think he watches them back. And he's got his album out as well, which is quite good. Give that a listen. So
he does. I went to see him last week.
You did? Was he in good fine form?
It was a very interesting crowd of middle-aged ladies.
Yes.
I did feel quite vulnerable when Nick went to the toilet and I was just alone.
At least you had an opportunity to throw your knickers at him.
Although there was a very big chap right at the front that was really rocking out to it.
Yeah, enjoying it a lot.
Yeah,
that wasn't Mickey Rourke, was it? By any chance?
No. He was just a big guy. But I've never seen such a big merch queue in my life.
Did you get any merch?
I didn't, no, sadly. There was a lot of I Love Chesney t-shirts, but I really should have got one for tonight.
You should. You've missed a trick. You've missed a trick. Maybe we could ask Chesney to send you one, perhaps.
Well, there was a lot of ladies getting various body parts signed as well.
Oh, interesting. The wrists.
Pardon?
The wrists.
Oh, no.
No. You wondered what the hell I said there. Right, let's move.
I thought I'd misheard you.
Let's move swiftly on. So yeah, because there's not many of us, I was going to say what's your worst Big Brother guests, but I thought let's just move on from this and introduce our special guests, because we have not one, but two, but we will introduce them one after the other. No particular order, but someone's going to go first. So this week's special guest number 1 describes himself on Blue Sky as he finished second in the Key Stage 2 Dads Race on Sports Day 2023. Everything else is just noise, which I love. I think that's
amazing.
One of the greatest bios you can have.
Exactly.
Let's give a very, very, very warm Sing When You're Winning podcast welcome to our special guest number 1, Mr. Adam Comstive. Woo!
Hello,
Adam. How are you doing?
Hello, thank you. Sorry, I'm doing a visual sign there for an audio format. Doesn't work, does it?
Good. It works.
Also available on YouTube.
Special guest is doing some heavy lifting there, isn't it? But
well,
guest will do. I'm happy to be here.
Especially giving up your time to be
Everybody's
on the show.
special.
Right?
Everybody is in this league.
Thank you. I'm feeling special right now.
Well, shall we have a look? We're going to quickly have a look at your FPL stats before we introduce special guest number 2.
Okay.
But your FPL stats, thanks to Statman Steve, it's your third FPL season, but your debut Sing When You're Winning season. That's all right so far?
That
Yeah,
it's my debut Sing When You're Winning. As I might have alluded to, I don't know how it's taken this stat, but I have fantasy leagued under another email. You wouldn't know her; she doesn't go to this school. A long time ago, I've got some history, not necessarily a good history. But
if you change your email, it loses all your game week history. So
so how long have you been playing then? Longer than 3 years then?
Long enough that I reckon the first time I did any fantasy league, I had to write off to my mum's newspaper.
Classic.
To do the updates, and long enough that I can specifically remember thinking that I was really smart getting Paul Warhurst in my fantasy league team.
Oh wow!
I thought he's a utility man. He's down as a defender, but sometimes he plays in midfield. That's the sort of the level I was thinking. I must have been about 13. It didn't work well. I didn't keep up with the written correspondence to keep on top of the fantasy admin. I don't remember how that finished, but yeah. Been doing it a few years online, and this has been a rejuvenating experience.
Good. Well, you had a slow start to the season, apparently, as you got to grips with the head-to-head format, but you've steadily climbed to 13th, and with a strong finish, you might even get 12th, says Statman Steve.
12th is in. It's all I've aspired to. Yeah, I definitely started slow, from it's Chris Payne's fault when he texted me and said, "Do you want to just join this league?" And I'm so used to Chris saying things like that, but I just say, "Yeah, whatever." Put together, chucked in a team, didn't really think about it again. Went on holiday, and then came back and found WhatsApps from slowly realizing the caliber of competitor that was in this league. Realizing that there really is only one Chesney, and when he's in your WhatsApps, it's time to switch on. So that was about week 4, I think.
Brilliant.
Went straight into wild card, made things worse. Have plateaued since then.
Well, we're going to talk about chip strategy in a bit, so we're gonna come back to that. Thank you very much, Adam. But let's introduce special guest number 2, who describes himself on X as Major Tom BAFTA. I mean, we've got a BAFTA winner in the house. This Friday
that's the
morning.
first. It's got to be a first.
I think it is a first for sure.
BAFTA winning.
Yes. Well, you can. How many times can you mention it on this podcast? I think. Feel free to mention it a lot. BAFTA winning screenwriter, actor, space oddity. Now we're a fantasy football league oddity. Co-writer and creator of Mobility, the comedy for BBC. Let's give a very warm Sing When You're Winning podcast welcome to our second special guest, Tom Gregory. Woo!
Thank you very much. Thank you. Lovely to be here.
Thank you for joining us amidst all the BAFTA fun. What's it like to be a BAFTA winner?
Sort of surreal. Usually when I'm on these things, I try and position myself so it's just sort of there subtly in the background. Obviously, I appreciate that's not great for the podcast, but if you're watching on YouTube, you just like to have it there twinkling away in the background.
Well, you can put it on the windowsill there, Tom.
Oh yeah, I could have done. Yeah.
Just tell people who are listening that it's there and it's mega and it's massive. You can wait until you see mine.
Oh, look at that, lad! That is shiny, isn't it? That's beauty.
Love it.
It's weighty as well. You need 2 hands.
Good. None of this cheap crap with BAFTA. I tell you. Good. That's what we like the sound of. But yeah, let's have a quick look at your stats as well. Statman Steve has been looking at your season. So your 9th season in FPL. Unless you've changed your.
No, I don't think I actually knew that. I thought I must be coming up to 10 soon enough, but yeah, that's pretty surprising.
You can celebrate your anniversary next year with 10. But your second season in Sing When You're Winning, and this is impressive, finished as League One champions last season, holding off Jim Daly for the title with 85 points. And you and Jim set the early pace and were both pre-season favourites in the championship. You then hit a sticky patch and dropped to mid-table, but you've since moved back into the playoff spots. You're doing quite well, I think.
Yeah. I had the season of my life last year. I've been in a mini league with 3 of my best friends, literally of that whole 9 years, and I'd never won. Literally just 4 of us, and I'd never won. and I won on the last day last season by a single point. I think it was Eze was the one who got it for me right at the pit. But yeah, enjoying it this year. Again, I'm a bit like Michelle was mentioning a few weeks back. You sort of points wise overall doing fantastically well. Yeah. I'd probably be in the top sort of top 5 of the league, roughly, something like that. But just luck of the draw, I seem to have had some real stinkers the last few weeks. So just very slowly just got back into the playoff places now. So we'll see what the run-in brings, if I can hold my nerve, or whether I'm just going to end up permanently captaining Kevin De Bruyne for nostalgia's sake.
Well, is he going to give the big send-off at City? We'll see, won't we, at the moment?
I thought we were going to have it at the weekend with...
I mean, that was one of the worst games of football I've ever seen in my entire life. And I've watched some crap. But it was just, I don't know if I was because I was just tired, but that Manchester derby was just embarrassing, wasn't it?
I just thought Kevin De Bruyne's last Manchester derby, he's going to be well fired up for it. He's going to absolutely blow everybody out of the water, captained him. No, just damp squib. It was dull as hell.
It was just weird. And the way they were all busy pals on the pitch at the end as well. I think Gary Neville was commenting about it. It was like...
Yeah, he was losing his shit about that.
But you would. It's like there was no like fire amongst it. It was just like, all right, lads. Yeah, it was like the both sets of teams were on like, oh, let's look forward to our summer holidays. It's just a bit weird.
It's a bit of a thing with Pep as well, though, isn't it? As much as I love him, he has brought in this kind of risk-averse way of playing football that just they're happy none of them made a mistake, sort of that led to a goal. But it means you're not willing to try something to make something happen. It's not the most entertaining watch.
And Adam, what were your thoughts on the Manchester derby as a United fan?
Oh God, I didn't have many. It was pretty grueling watching, wasn't it? As a United fan, I was happy it wasn't calamitous.
Yeah.
Nobody shamed themselves. I mean, probably Gary Neville thinks that everyone shamed themselves by not, giving it 100% and breaking legs left, right, and centre. But yeah, I mean, it was a back five. It was like that's the most nakedly I've seen them start with a back five for all the 3-4-3 chat. That was just set up to restrict and punch on the counter, and we're just not threatening on the counter in the way that United always have been. And I don't know whether that's individual confidence or just the way they're scared of getting the tactics wrong. It feels like, especially you were saying sort of with Pep, it feels like everyone's just would rather follow instructions and win a football match, and it's pretty. It makes a grueling watch, and it's fine. You have to understand it's part of the process and part of it. It's been half a season now, and these are professional footballers, and you kind of think you should be able to express yourself. I almost went in, get to the line, give and get, defend. Like I was almost going John Barnes. I think that England question was channeling world emotion for me there for a second. But yeah, there's no, there was nothing about it, was there?
No.
And yeah, I'll pragmatically accept it as a point given the season we've had. But yeah, it's a tough sell.
It wasn't great. It wasn't. We're going to come on to who City and Man U are playing at the weekend very shortly when we do our predictions. But first, we've got 2 game weeks to review. Steve, how are you going to fit this into a short space of time?
I'm just going to go with last week's.
Good idea. We were mid-game week last week.
Yeah, we were at half-time last week, weren't we?
We were.
Everyone's forgotten the week before because
that's true.
I know I lost anyway, so I'd like to get.
I've had 2 wins on the bounce, so I'm quite enjoying it at the moment.
Really? This must be a promotion push, is it? That's form of the season, isn't it? 2 in a row.
No.
All right, so we'll look at last week's games then. We'll start in the Premier League. The highest score was from Alistair Brooks-Ball. He got 72, who beat a title rival there, Tom Roberts, who got a 56. Paul Chambers-Tonner up there. He beat Faris down at the bottom, 46-38. Michelle won the big relegation 6-pointer there, 48-37 to beat Dan.
Is Dan looking in trouble then?
He's still in trouble, though. He still maintains that he always gets out of this pickle. So
he does, to be fair, he does.
He does, but then also John has got a record of doing that, and Faris has got a record of doing that, and
someone's got to go.
Michelle's pretty good, and I don't want to get relegated, so
Who is that?
Speaking of John, he lost to Neil Martin 35-53. I beat Andrew Chester 60-39, 60 points thanks to Jacob Murphy there.
It was a low-scoring game week. 60 is pretty good.
Absolute club legend he is for me now. That was his debut as well, and he might get sold shortly. And so league tables wise, there, Paul Chambers Tonner is now 3 points clear, 60 points. Alistair Bruce Ball second, 57. Ed Chester's is third on 57, and Leon Farrer, the travel man, is now fourth on 56 points. Down at the bottom, me, I've now got a little gap, 36 points to Michelle, who's got 31. And the bottom three now is Faris Badwan with 30, Dan Stewart with 29, and John Gregory is bottom with 27. Championship then, where we'll find, here comes a new guest.
Almost
there.
Hello. Special guest we didn't know it was going to be.
Hello, Rick. The rest of them didn't know it was you coming. I just said a special guest arriving.
There you go. Yes. So for the benefit of those listening in, it's Mr. Rich Archer. Good Friday morning. This Wednesday evening. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys doing? You all good?
All right, mate, yeah. Nice to see you. Very short notice.
Yeah. Sorry about that, but glad I could be here.
Good anyway, I was just doing the results, Rich, and you've timed it perfectly because I was just about to do your result. You beat Jersey Chris 57-30. Championship then. Championship, the top score came from the top team as Jim Daly beat Andrew Clancy 67-41. Tom, you won a 6-pointer against Phil Pinder 53-34. And Tim won against Carl 51. Carl only got 14 last week. That's pretty dismal.
Yeah.
Lots of teams at the bottom where they're all arguing with each other about who's going to get relegated, and it looked like it was going to be one of the three of the bottom four, but all the teams at the bottom seem to win, dragging all the rest of the bottom half into it again. Jonas even won at the bottom, and Jonas has not won for months. He beat Dave Atkins 30-18.
Yeah, Dave was mortified at that, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, yeah. League table-wise, Jim is top still with 66. Tim Ward is second with 60. Stu Dunn has 55. Andrew Clancy, 54. Phil Pinder, 54. You, Tom, have 53. And just behind you, outside the playoffs, is Cole Jenkins, who's got 51. Down at the bottom, very tight. Dave Atkins now 39, Mark Morris 39, Graham Swan 39, Joe Derrick 38, the bottom three, Rich Lay 37, Alistair Griffin 36, and Jonas won, but he's still miles behind 28, so it's looking fairly grim for him now. Only 7 games left, don't forget, so 21 points. League One, a 60 for Paul Spence, beat Tim Bresnan's 41, Jamie Hurst won against Chesney, which is looking bad for Chesney now. He's not going to be looking at his team for the next 2 or 3 weeks, I imagine.
Do his team from the Big Brother house, can he? Who's looking after his team?
Well, unless he's given it to his wife, because there was talk of her joining next season, so he might be giving her a trial run.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jamie beat Chesney 43-38. The chasing Rich Pipes slipped up, though. He lost to Anton Witter 44-27, and Steve Wybrandt eased his relegation worries, beating Nathan Clark 35-34. Very close one. League table-wise, Jamie Hurst, who was 14 points clear, got it reduced to about 7 points clear, is now 14 points clear again. He's got 69 points, so he's nearly promoted. Second is Rich Pipes with 55. Then the playoffs are Alex Renton, 55, Lee Nicholson, 54, Ben Hope, 53, Stu Kelly, 52, and just chasing them, Anton Witter with 48. Down at the bottom, Gareth Youngs has 42 points, little gap to Tim Bresnan in the relegation with 38. Nathan Clark, 34, Chesney, 31, and Magic Ben Taylor, not so magic, 30 points. Finally, the Conference League, the top scorer was from Finn Dunn. Surprising, he's had a terrible season. He thrashed Casey Hawkes 68-16. George Pearson stunned the long-time leader Pete Martini 43-21. Ben Halliwell closed the gap on him, beating Becky Bass 58-18. Top end matches, Neil Robertson drew with Sophie Ridge 52 all. Grace Maloney beat Alfie 39-23. Natalie Pike beat Joe Singleton 54-52. And Adam, you beat rock bottom Paul Tonkinson 30-13.
Ooh.
I did.
Tables wise,
rock bottom.
I'll just finish the tables. Pete Martini's got 67, Ben Halliwell 64, Sophie Ridge 60, and the playoffs, Natalie Pike 59, Grace Maloney 58, Joe Singleton 56, Vicky Sparks 56, and Neil Robertson 55. So somebody's going to miss out then. It's all very tight. Maddox is still chasing his dream of the season, which is to be in the top 10, which he's never managed. He's 11th now.
Oh, you're getting excited.
And down at the bottom, it's fairly close, but then there's two that are miles adrift, and that's Chris Murray with 24 and Paul Tonkinson with 24. And
so Chris is no longer on the bottom then?
He's not bottom. Paul Tonkinson's taken over, and Paul Tonkinson refuses to pick Mo Salah, so that's probably why he's bottom.
Yeah, but you've got
you
to
were trying to make me feel bad for beating the whipping boy there, but I'll take every win I can get. It's a vicious league, that conference, honestly. You top table people, you've no idea what life is like.
Some of the best players are in the conference.
Scrapping and clawing for every single point going. Honestly, dog eat dog.
Definitely seeing that.
I did look at Paul's team. That's the level of professionalism I'm still bringing to it. You know, it's after Christmas, and I'm still bothering to look at other people's teams, let alone my own. Now we're in this cult. And Paul had about 6 players out injured and didn't have, as you said, Steve. So I'm pretty sure he's gone home.
You probably looked at it more than Paul has in the last few weeks.
I was happy to take the -4 and think I could probably get away with that. So
it's good tactics.
Got to do these tactics. Absolutely.
I don't think I've ever looked at anyone else's team. Actually, is that something that's worth doing?
Oh, I recommend it. Yeah. Particularly if you're playing Paul. No offense, Paul, if you're listening. I did it. I did the same thing the week before. I was playing Becky, and she had quite a lot of injuries, and I thought I can probably take a -4, and then I had to 1-pointer. Cole Palmer got booked in about the 89th minute for complaining about something. She had him, and that gave me the win. And I had it over my head when I saw it come up on the app.
This is the level, though, isn't it? You sat watching, you sat watching the Manchester derby, and the game was crap. But I spent half my time looking at who my opponent had and what their scores were doing, and working out where I would be in the league if I got 3 points. It's tragic, really.
Yeah, it finished, and I turned it off and thought I never want to think about that again. But I was straight back to think about whether Fernandez had got a bonus point for it. He hasn't. Onana and Mazraoui got 3 bonus points each or something. But it's weird. This cult that you brought me into.
It was Chris, actually.
Chris isn't here.
Chris Payne dragged you into it, didn't he? And then he's not shown up tonight. So
he's not shown up, which is just
shocking.
But someone who has shown up is Mr. Rich Archer. So yes, we can have a proper chat now where Steve's done his bits on the league. But yeah, how's your season been going, Rich?
Shall I just give you a rundown on Rich's history?
Yeah, I was going to say, have you got that ready?
I've just done it now because it's a bit off the cuff since Rich joined very late.
Cool. Let's get your stats then.
Now, again, as we've said before, unless Rich has changed his email address, it looks like a 5th season in Fantasy League, Rich?
That sounds about right.
And a 5th season in Sing When You're Winning as well.
Yeah.
You were promoted in 3rd place in your first ever season in the Championship and have been in the Premier League ever since. And you finished 5th in 2023 is your finest finish, I think.
Okay, yeah.
And I seem to recall that was a season when me and you were very similar, and we were 13th or 14th most of the season, and then both of us leapt to 5th and 6th on the last game of the season, and we'd never been anywhere near 5th or 6th all season.
Why was that? Do you remember? Was there?
I think it was just a very tight league, and we were very lucky.
Yeah, I think that was the reason. The reason I started doing it was because of this league. I think that was why I sort of kind of got into it, and then sort of regretted it ever since, because it's sort of takes over your life, doesn't it? Right? You sort of. I mean, I actually believe that I have I can curse players by putting them in my side. I can put a hex on them, and I will often pick players. So, for instance, if depending on who Brentford are playing, I'll bring in a dangerous player from their opponents, so that I'll ruin his game, and at least that might help Brentford, even if it ruins my fantasy football result that week. But it's got that far in.
Spite pick is legitimate. Spite pick.
Yeah.
I held on to Haaland for the longest time because I was convinced it was me who killed him, basically, this season. I bought him in week 4, and then it was too good. It was too good. But yeah, slowly this game begins to become more important.
Yeah.
Rightfully trying to sabotage seasons.
I think Haaland's killed my season. I've clung on to him all season, thinking you lot have all got rid of him. He's going to be my difference, and he's going to boost me back up the league. And then it's never happened. And now, just as he's coming good, he's got injured, so I'm going to have to buy Isak anyway. So
it's a lot of money to have tied up, isn't it? If he's not.
It has freed up some cash for me. Yeah, that's where I went wrong. It was painful having Haaland and Isak and Wood scoring every week. Sorry, Tom, go on.
I was going to say, especially if other players seem to have some kind of voodoo doll of Erling Haaland, they're sticking pins in.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it about these spike picks, as if that's what we're calling it. It's been referenced before on this pod, but I think a lot of people do it, don't they? It's I think we're just we're a set of cynical people who play in this game, essentially, because I think most people think that they have a curse and a hex on players. It can't work like that universally, but yeah, I think a lot of us think that we curse the strikers that we put in, and it's like in real football, isn't it? Like I went through a period of putting a bet on the team that was up against Borough once for promotion because they kept losing every time I put a bet on them because I wouldn't win the bet, and it's stupid little things like that work.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever got points from Bruno Fernandes. I'll bring him in anytime I bring him in. Absolutely nothing. I get rid of him, and he's the best player in the game.
I think my early season was summed up because I started with Fernandes and Garnacho in my team, and I can't remember. It must have been the 3rd or 4th week. I'm sure there was a moment where Fernandes hit the bar and it fell to Garnacho, and he managed to hit the bar as well, and both of them blanked that week, and it felt like that was me, that was my fault. I was ruining it for everyone. I had to get rid of them both then for the sake of United, and maybe I was the problem, or maybe I could have saved Ten Hag. Who knows?
This is turning into a therapy session, guys.
This is one weird.
It's FPL therapy. It's all good stuff. Shall we have a look at some games coming up some real football that's coming up this weekend, and do some crazy predictions? We don't have the usual Jersey Chris predicting that Man U are going to get hammered by whoever they're playing, unless Rick Witter's on, and then he changes his mind and decides that Man U is going to do particularly well. But we'll start with Man City Palace this Saturday. What do we think? We'll go to the City fan here. Tom, what do you think?
It just depends what Pep wants to do. I mean, he's been talking today about how Mateus Nunes, who he paid 53 million for, isn't clever enough to play in midfield, apparently. So, poor bloke. But he is awful, Nunes, but mainly because he keeps playing him at right back. And who knows? It could be another absolute ball draw. City might just about get it together. I don't know. I'm going to go a 1-1. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't see City keeping a clean sheet.
No. Palace have a decent record at City though in recent years. Am I right? Or there's a couple of games stand out to me where I think Palace have caused Pep some trouble. So I actually fancy Palace for a sneaky away win here. But anyone else?
Well, seeing as I've got 3 Palace players in my team for this week, I'm hoping it's about 4-4.
No.
I've got 3 Palace players in my team, and they've been pretty good to me. They've been playing really well, haven't they?
Doing well.
You just you sort of think that it can't keep going wrong for City. They think at some point they're going to get their act together, but Palace are no mugs, are they? And they've been strong. I mean, what's the name of I got the defender? I've got his name. Is it Muniz?
Munoz.
He's been terrific.
Yeah, he has been really good.
Yeah,
great player.
But it's strange that City. You look at City's midfield. You can't pick anybody you think, I'll definitely get him in my team, because none of them are really playing well. Foden, anybody.
Yeah.
Grealish, you wouldn't put any of them in, would you really?
Yeah.
That's Savino. People have Savino. He does nothing, does he? He never scores a goal or anything.
It's like having Pep here, isn't it? Listening to you, Steve. None of them doing anything.
It all went downhill when they sold Calvin Phillips, to be fair.
Of course.
He was clearly the glue.
Country together.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll have Cal back next season when you get promoted. Wolves, Spurs, anybody? I mean, Lee's not here. Normally, he'd be the one who'd tell us that Spurs wouldn't do well. But yeah, does anyone care about Wolves, Spurs?
Do Wolves or Spurs care about Wolves and Spurs at this point?
Well,
that's the dangerous thing at this point, isn't it? It feels like, because going back to Palace, there's that double game weeks coming up, and you are kind of banking on some of those players. But it feels like a few teams are now going off a boil. A few teams who've done really well, like maybe Bournemouth are drifting off a little bit, Fulham are drifting off a little bit. I'm a bit worried Palace might turn into that, but Spurs and Wolves, who knows?
Fulham just beat Liverpool for the weekend.
What I've done there is forget about Fulham as a whole and just think specifically about the point scores of Anthony Robinson.
Yes, you have. You've forgotten about Fulham as a whole, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wolves, Spurs. Well, I mean, I think it's got a 0-0 draw written all over it, to be fair. And what were you saying, Tom, about Ange?
I was going to say, has Big Ange got any of his players back at the minute? Are they all still injured?
Hey, right? we could have an impression later on shooting stars in their eyes. I can see this happening.
Sounds like an audition, that, doesn't it?
It sounds like an audition, to be fair. Well, the game we're going to play is home and away, so stick with that.
Okay.
It's all coming together. Yeah. Ange just wants the season over, doesn't he? But if they can make the win in Europe, that's what's keeping him holding on to his job, I think, at the moment. But I like Ange. I mean, I'm not a big Spurs fan, but I quite like him as a manager. He talks sense. What he was saying earlier in the week, I think, about mobile phones and saying that he'll call kids out because it's bullying and all that good stuff. I thought, good on you. You know what I mean? Because the press are quite happy to jump on him and say, "Oh, look at this. He's being filmed by some kid," and he's like, "Yeah, but," I said, "I'm not going to stand for it." He says, "Because they'll bully me, but then they'll go and bully a kid in the playground and stuff like that." So I quite like Ange. He talks a lot of sense. Yeah, maybe not in the footballing sense of the word, but he talks morally in lots of sense, which is quite good. Newcastle Man U, though, is the last game. I think that's Super Sunday. I fancy Newcastle to smash Manchester United. I really do. Isak, triple captain possibly for me on this one. So that means he won't play or he won't score. But I genuinely think Newcastle will smash Man U. Anyone else?
I do. I'm scared that I didn't bring in Isak. Well, I'm sort of glad I didn't bring him in at the weekend just gone, because I sort of felt like his minutes were going to be managed a little bit there. Yeah. But I went with my heart and brought in De Bruyne. But if I'd gone with my head, I'd have brought in Jacob Murphy. He's on fine form. So that might be the move. I'm inclined to agree with you. Man United just so toothless, aren't they?
And Newcastle have got Champions League suddenly in their sights, locked in. They're buoyant after the cup win. So, I think Newcastle will be dangerous from now till the end of the season.
And especially after, is it last night, after the Arsenal win? Yeah. It's 5 teams that'll qualify for Europe, for Champions League.
Newcastle versus United is the kind of family derby in my house. My wife's a Georgian, her family are all big Newcastle fans, and I work in the northeast a lot as well. So it's always a big derby sort of occasion, weirdly, in our house. And I'm not going into it with a huge amount of confidence as a United fan. I kind of think we might do that back 5 again, and that might be it. It might be getting away with a 0-0, but the shackles are not off for United. I do not see that coming better, despite sort of glimmers of better individual performances. I probably think it's going to be one. I think I honestly, my heart says it's 1 or 2-0 to Newcastle this time.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
And I've got Isak, so that might soften the blow. Maybe that'll help.
Off at a slight tangent here, but in a former life, I used to be a police officer down here in Swindon in Wiltshire, and we had once arresting this guy who'd lost his legs to deep vein thrombosis because he was a drug addict. Right. And people were filming us.
It's a dark podcast this week.
It is. It's gone dark.
That's the end of that story.
No.
he was a Geordie guy, and we were we had to arrest him. We're trying to get him in the back of this van, and he was obviously we had to get him out of his wheelchair to get him into the van, put his thing back, and we were getting filmed at the time as well. People always sort of, the nasty old bastard police officers, and he just kept shouting, "Wheelchair police, wheelchair police, wheelchair police," and we got him back, and we're like, why does he keep shouting at us that we're bloody wheelchair police? Like, what were we supposed to do with it? And we got it back, and we realised that he was shouting Wiltshire police.
Brilliant.
There you go.
Tom's now doing 2 voices in the last 5
Oh
minutes.
yeah.
He is. Yeah. Good.
He's going for Swanee's record.
Yes. For sure. So I think we're all saying, Newcastle will probably beat Man U. I think it's fair to say.
And I think everybody will be captaining Isak this week, won't they? So.
Without a doubt, yeah.
So I've had Murphy for a while, and he's been brilliant. He's been really good, and I benched Isak the last game just gone because I saw he was injured, but I thought, well, maybe, but Murphy was brilliant. I know everything is like, Newcastle should win it, and they've got this. But this is the sort of time when, they'll all be talking on after the weekend about how, United will go out there and win it, and we'll all be saying, oh, have they turned a corner? Blah 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 blah. It's kind of like, it's just, I don't know. It's got that sort of something about it that says that Newcastle should win it. They've got the Champions League in their sights. Maybe they'll choke. Maybe Man United will play out their skin. I don't know. It's just got something about. Every time, so I feel they have a few good games and suddenly they turn it around. You know what I mean? It's kind of
You're right. I believe you're right. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm going to throw it out there.
It's going to happen. I believe
it's going to be a damn sight better than last week's Super Sunday. Whatever happens, I think there'll be goals at St James's Park on Sunday. So
Jacob Murphy actually, I audibly went yes when he scored that one that came off the crossbar, because that's like the second time I've won since Christmas, I think, this week. That's how bad my season's been.
Yeah, well, could be a good
Jacob Murphy in.
But everyone's signing Jacob Murphy.
First time I've ever had him, he scored 2 in 10 minutes. He's a club legend.
Amazing. Well, I've signed Murphy again this week. I've jumped on the bandwagon, so you can rest assured he's about to go. Because I bet you he'll be the most transferred in player this week.
Yeah.
Be carried off.
For sure. And we'll quickly mention the chips strategies as well, because there's 2 back-to-back double game weeks coming up. So game week 32 and 33, and a blank game week in game week 34, all looming. So you need to have a strong FPL chip strategy for the next couple of games. That's if you've got chips left, to be fair. So is anyone thinking about the chip strategy at the moment?
I'm thinking about chips a lot now. You just said chips.
I've said chips a lot. Yeah. And it's getting close to chip time this Friday morning for sure. But yes, I think. So go on.
Oh no, I was going to say, I think I've got all of mine bar my wild card left to play, so it's now a case of trying to fit them all in. But I know I hate the ass man.
Yeah. I'm keeping my ass man until the end. I think that's the safest way to do it.
I'm thinking about
your ass man under covers.
Man this week, but the big question. Well, I should keep this to myself, shouldn't I? In case
should, yeah. People will be listening.
All the people at the bottom of your league, Adam, will be keen to know that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna leap to mid-table. It's gonna happen. But yeah, the big question is Glasner, isn't it? He's what everyone's saying will be the potential point scorer, but I just don't know whether it's City and Newcastle they've got, isn't it, Palace this week as a double game week, and that feels risky. You could see them losing in both of those. So I don't know. Keep it close. I bet it's tonight by this afternoon, right?
You have all your other chips, though, Adam?
No, I splurged my chips early. Actually, no, I've still got bench boost.
All right.
So I think that will be late. But yeah, I wild carded hard and early after my. I think I initially decided that Solanke and Calvert-Lewin were going to lead me to glory back in August. So I had to apply some hard changes there early season. Yeah.
Yeah.
But have you got your second half of the season wild card?
Oh, again, I did that early.
Oh, you've gone early.
Yeah, that was like a New Year thing. Yeah, that also went. So
Don't give Adam a wild card. He nicks it inside.
I will use it. You give me it, I'm going to use it. What do you expect?
I used my wild card last week because I had loads of injuries, and I thought, you know what, there's only a few games left, may as well use it. And I think I've got as many injuries now after 1 week. So that, and I used my free hit when there was a game week a couple of weeks ago where there was I know Liverpool didn't have a game, so I used that then. So I've got bench boost, and that's about it. Generally, I forget all about them and use them all on the last day. So it's better this season. But yeah, so I don't think there's not much I can do about that really.
Yeah, and with Asman takes over 3 game weeks, remember, so you can't leave. If you leave too many to the end, you won't be able to play them all.
And you can't play 2. You couldn't have a bench boost down an assistant manager.
You can't have 2 chips.
No.
One chip only in this league. It's.
I'll tell you the thing that annoys me as well with the Assman is that their prices are going up, but I've never found how to actually see what they are. Just saw it in an article. Yeah,
I don't think they are.
Are they?
Are they?
No, I think they're all just priced differently to start with, weren't they? I think.
Yeah, but it doesn't. So Glasner's not gone up.
Not that I know of. I've not looked at it.
Let's do some research for next week's show on the Assman prices.
Deep Assman research.
Tune in next Friday morning for that one. An Easter weekend special. I'm just letting Steve know the excitement of Easter weekend or a week in advance.
That's is it next week Easter or is it 2 weeks?
Yeah, it'll be Good Friday next week. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
How
anyway,
exciting.
we'll save that excitement for next week's pod, people. Let's not get too carried away this Friday morning.
But playing your chips depends on whether you're playing for a head-to-head or points, I suppose, doesn't it?
Yes. But with double game weeks, if anyone's got any triple captains, it seem to make sense to do that in one of the double game weeks potentially.
Well, I'm definitely looking at who I'm playing in the next few weeks and thinking, what chips has he got? What's he likely to play? But you can't second guess anything. And everyone's saying, I've got loads. All these people down at the bottom are all saying, well, I've got lots of chips left. I'll be fine. But they'll only be playing against somebody else who's got the same chips. So it probably cancels itself out.
Well, we shall see over the coming game weeks. But yeah, let's have there's 3 guests on this week, so we won't have time to go into the deep, dark, what are your big highs and lows of supporting your football teams. So I'm going to see if we can keep it brief. What's your number one high as a football fan supporting your teams, and what's your number one low? We'll start with you, Rich. What's your highest moment of being a Brentford fan?
It's got to be going up to the Prem, isn't it? I mean, that was pretty amazing after missing out the year before, and then prior to that, really sort of like just existing in the lower leagues. Mm-hmm. That was amazing. Obviously it was just as I think the playoff against Bournemouth. It was like the first time in the new stadium, so I went to see that and it was after lockdown as well. So first game after lockdown in the new stadium, and then going to Wembley. That was terrific. That was amazing. Lowest point, there's that classic Brentford game where we were playing, I think it was Doncaster, and we got a penalty in the last minute. Penalty hit the bar. They went down the other end and scored, and they went up, and I was there at that game, and it was kind of it was as disheartening as you can imagine.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. But yeah, I mean, I think Brentford, there's a big talk every season now about that gap between Championship and Premiership, and I think Brentford are one of those teams that just is the model for how you do it, I guess. Mm-hmm. And gone about it quietly as well. No, I mean, you're closer to the club than I am, but I don't recall any out of this world mega signings that were going to come in and it's like, we'll buy that, the trophy signing that will keep us up. It's just been Thomas Frank seems to be outstanding at the job that he's doing.
Yeah, they've got a plan, and they stick to the plan. And I think we've got one of the second lowest budgets in the league, something like that. But they stick to their plan, and there's often clamour. We've not had a lot of luck with injuries. Certainly not last season. Not really this season either. We signed a new striker, and he's not played all season. I think he played against Newcastle actually. He looked great. and then he gets like a bone infection. I don't even know what that is, and we've not seen him since. So, but they don't sort of panic and sort of like rush out and pay loads of money for someone. They just kind of, and also like even with Thomas Frank, he's been terrific, but they'll probably already have the next manager at the club. There'll be a succession worked out.
Yeah,
he was Dean Smith's assistant coach when and then when Dean Smith went to Villa, he moved in, and it took him a while to find his feet, but then he did. So they've kind of got a plan, and they stick to it, and they don't get kind of. And what I think the thing they've done coming up to the Prem is instead of like, they've worked to their strengths or worked to what they've got. So instead of going, no, we're going to keep trying to play the football that got us up here, they've gone, actually, let's go long. We've got Ivan Toney. Let's survive, get a base camp, and then we can start building from there. They've thought about it all. There's really smart people there.
It's good. As I said, there's a lot of people. I think a lot of clubs could take a leaf out of whatever, like you said, whatever that formula is. For Brentford definitely seems to be working, which is good. Thank you for that, Rich. Tom, as a City fan, there's probably some obvious highs and lows, but is there one each? Do you want to call out for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I particularly love the Nicky Weaver's heroics in goal for the promotion, and Paul Dickoff scoring. That was just felt like that was the start of all of the success that we've had since. Because up until that point, really, being a City fan had been pretty depressing, really, in my lifetime, certainly. I was a bit too young. Well, wasn't really even alive for some of the old successes, but that was fantastic. And then but then prior to that, the low point probably Alan Ball in charge during the relegation fight, and having being interviewed after a match, and I said, well, how do you lift the players after a performance like that? And little Alan Ball going, who lifts the manager? Who lifts the manager? Cheers, Alan. Yeah, thanks for that. Brilliant. That's what we're all worried about.
Three voices. That's three voices.
I mean, what I like about this as well is Tom's subtly demonstrating his worth for a BAFTA without mentioning the word BAFTA. This is what's good here. He's clearly clever at his craft.
The BAFTA was for writing, so
Yeah, I mean, multi-talented. What you're doing is you're letting people know that if they did want you in front of the camera, that you could do that too. It's good.
If John Culshaw dies, then it's an opening.
If there's a dead rigger, you'll be laughing. Basically, is what he's saying. So anyway, moving swiftly on. Thank you. And Adam, as a United fan, I guess, is it the obvious number one?
Yeah, there's a few obvious number ones in the obviously 99. Weirdly, I was thinking about the Moscow penalty shootout just because I was with friends and we had a big old night of that, and that was a great thing. And very often that's the most important thing rather than it like a standout football moment. It's kind of a context, isn't it? So yeah, lovely stuff with that Champions League win. Like the earlier sort of stuff as well that sticks with you, like the Mark Hughes volley. But I feel like my early support in United is just a montage of Mark Hughes muscularly volleying vital goals, and that's that's heady stuff. But yeah, plenty of highs, plenty of good moments. Obviously, I think the derbies always hit well, like the Owen winner and Scholes' header when he came back. Moments like that, particularly sort of when you're in Manchester, that's always a good moment. The lows, it feels like this season is a low, an ongoing and extending low without a bottom, to be honest, and not just sort of on field. Like we've had some pretty stodgy stuff over the last few years, but just everything. Just going to the stadium looks miserable. Like you can feel it. You can feel the rot sort of setting in, and a lot of the decisions that are being made where you feel like you always felt like United is despite it all a proper club that looked after staff, looked after fans, kind of like had great relationship with those fan groups, and it feels like that's just being eroded away at the moment, and that's a difficult moment. I'll give a non-United answer as well. I've got to give a shout because I live in Bury now, and I live about half a mile from Gig Lane. So I started going to Bury with my son when he was 5, and we were there in that last season that Bury existed in the league, and we went we went to the last game where Bury won promotion from League Two, and we were in the vast minority of people who didn't go in. There was a pitch invasion at the end of it. The team had gone up. Everyone gets on the stands. My son was with me. He was about 5, and I kind of went, "No, let's not do it." I was worried about losing him, and I was like, "No, that's a bit naughty. We'll stop that." And he has not forgiven me since for not getting that chance to do a pitch invasion. Like, he brings it up every possible opportunity. Like, he is annoyed with me. So that, in a way, was a high moment. It's also a low. So I should say that Bury are. We've got one more home game next weekend and could go up.
Oh, cool.
It's a ridiculous thing in tier 9. They've scored 100 plus points. They've scored about 150 goals. They're still not guaranteed to go up. It's still like going down to the final game. That tier of football is absolutely intense and crazy. But hopefully we'll be there in 2 weekends' time. I might allow a pitch invasion. I don't think I can stop him now. He's bigger. So
fingers crossed.
Yeah, hoping that will be a high.
Yeah, well, I hope you get your pitch invasion.
Yeah. But it's a massive contrast. It's first of all problems talking about being a United fan, and then you sort of go somewhere where a club is gone, and then because of some very bad individual decisions. But maybe that's where United will happen.
But it happens. I've followed Darlington for years because that was my closest club growing up, and I used to go to watch them. And then what's happened to them? They went all the way to the I think 5 or 6 rungs down the pyramid, flew up to just their National League North now, just below the conference, but they can't get out of that. They're just the competition at that level, like Scunthorpe United, are top of the National League North. I think they're still a professional club at that level.
Yeah.
It's just getting so intense, even at like 2 levels below League Two. It's just crazy for any.
If it's not too serious a conversation, that's the thing. There's so many professional clubs in England playing English football. Like, people always hold out Germany as an amazing model, but how many? There's half as many, maybe a quarter as many actual professional full-time clubs going. There's so many great clubs playing in non-league professionally with with 4,000 or 5,000 crowds more plus. So competitive right way down the pyramid, isn't it? And
definitely see some cracking non-league games as well. So,
and they're all playing it out from the back.
Yeah. Well,
you have to go to tier 10 to see someone properly hoof it.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yeah. Can't beat
it. Was amazing. I went to a Bury game recently with a United fan, and within the first minute, he saw 2 crosses. Just a winger going wide and crossing the ball with their preferred foot. He was amazing. It's like, it's blown away. You could pay by the cross at some clubs.
Good stuff. Right, we've got some. I don't think it's time for us to have any homework questions, and some people we didn't even know were going to be here. So, Steve, I think we might just move on quickly. But Rich, I want to ask you a really naff question, because I like naff questions. How many times does some person in the WhatsApp chat refer to you being hard to beat?
Well, it's kind of
too many to count, essentially. When I used to be in the Prem, I'm not anymore. I'm relegated last season, but that used to come up quite a lot, I seem to recall. Does that ever annoy you, or do you just think whatever?
They've just started. So at Brentford, they used to come out to hard to beat. And then when we went up to the Prem, I knew it wouldn't last forever. They stopped and they went all fancy, and it was all light shows and something else.
Yeah.
But they started playing it now when we draw. Because we're, so we've done there, and I'm kind of quite happy about it, but also a little bit, that's a bit shit.
Yeah.
So I kind of like, I'm just, to be honest, I'm just happy anyone remembers. If I'm honest.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I was trying to avoid saying it. I was, if I'm doing on the WhatsApp stuff, I'm thinking I'm not putting hard to beat Rich. It's just same as to try and avoid the one and only with Chesney or whatever.
I nearly said it. I'll be honest, when you were talking about Rich's history, I almost said it, and I thought, no, someone's going to have a buzzer. You'll put a sound effect on. I'll just be...
But no. But again, it's a cracking song, so it's good that people are still playing it. Do you know what I mean? But I guess in the football context, I just wondered if it was frustrating. But there you go.
Maybe it should get a re-release on an album, Rich.
Oh, well, funny you should mention that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Please
4th of July, 20 years since Stars of CCTV came out. So you can buy it all over again.
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah, can you believe it?
Scary.
It's mad. It's mad.
Yeah, I remember like buying it on CD, saying to my mate, putting it in his car and going, "You've got to listen to this, it's amazing." That does not feel like 20 years ago.
No.
That is frightening.
I remember it being in my 5-track CD player, rotational.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, one of
You're
those you have to have like in your boot.
No, not in the car. It was a mini system thing.
Oh,
But you could put 5 CDs in at once, and then it'd just rotate and shuffle.
And you didn't know what it was going to say next.
Early form of iPod shuffle.
Wow. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Actually,
brilliant.
Still got one here.
Oh.
I shuffle. I'll see if I can get it out. Hang on. This is great, entertaining stuff, isn't it?
It is. Rich is getting his iPod. I think you should, if it's charged, you should shuffle it and tell us what song comes up.
It's not. It's my multi CD player.
Oh, sorry.
There's 9 CDs in at the moment, so it's trying to go through them. But if you remember, it goes through them all trying to find one.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to be here for about 10 minutes, so you might.
Cool. Well, we'll keep padding, and then you can tell us what song is coming up. Good stuff. And yes, we're going to talk next. Well, we're going to play a game called Home and Away, which I'd planned because I thought we'd have 2 guests. I don't know how it's quite going to work with 3 guests, but we're going to. The concept being, this is going to sound far too complicated, but the fact that we had a United fan and a City fan on, and you go head to head against each other, but you get 1 point if you stay home and have it's kind of like Question Sport ripoff, but like you get 1 point for Man U. No, it's Question Sport ripoff with a different sport. This is a different team. Subtle difference.
It's subtly different.
It is subtly different, and no one remembers Question Sport anymore.
So can you do a Sue Barker voice then, Jamie?
No.
Emily News.
I mean, that's quite similar, isn't it? He's on the tip of my tongue. Sorry. There you go. I mean, I can't do impressions. Never have been able to do impressions. There'll be no BAFTA for me. I think it's fair to say. But yes, I can't even do my own voice. That's the tragic thing. Anyway, but yes. So the idea is kind of a home and away, basically. Or we could scrap that idea, given that there's 3, and we could do a really quick version of Sing When You're in Superfan and do 30 seconds each. What do you reckon, Steve?
Yeah, unless you'd have the home and away, and then Tom could do the voices for the last thing.
That's a good idea. We could share the load, couldn't we?
Because last week we had Rick Witter almost attempting a Brian Robson, and the week before Lee Nicholson was a very good Lucas Radaby.
Yes.
I could do Ian Holloway because he's now taken over as Swindon boss, which is my local team. So
amazing. Well, hold that thought. We'll go on to that. So what we'll do is we'll play home and away then with Man City and Brentford, if that's all right. Okay. So I'm literally using ChatGPT live right now, which is going to mean there's far more problems, and you get. Like I say, we'll ask 5 questions, but you can choose whether it's home and away. Steve's going to have to try and keep scoring. So, Rich, I'll start with you. Do you want to go home or away? You get a point if you go home with Brentford. You get 2 points if you go away with Man U.
I'll start at home.
You'll start home. Cool. So your first question for Brentford. Bear in mind, I just asked ChatGPT, so some of these are really potentially easy. But what is Brentford's highest ever league finish?
I think it was last season, wasn't it, or the season before?
It was in the 22-23 season, yeah.
Yeah. So would that 14?
According to this, you finished. Did you finish 6th?
No.
Nah, it's bullshit. ChatGPT is bullshit. Sorry. I'll ask you a different question. What a load of crap that is. I apologise. So that's such a nightmare using this. Who is Brentford's all-time top scorer?
Jim Towers.
Yes, well done. With 164 goals. Don't know if that's true. Got it, ChatGPT, but yes. Yeah. So you get a point for that. Well done. Over to you, Adam. Home or away?
Well, I'll be honest, when I thought it was United against City, I was thinking quite confident of a way. With no disrespect to Brentford. Was less of my basic trivia. I had 7 years working at the National Football Museum, like I know quite a bit, but not about Brentford, I'm afraid.
Okay.
So I'll have to go home. Oh,
You're going to go home.
For trouble here.
No worries. So, how many FA Cups has Manchester United won?
13?
12, according to this.
You might be right. We might be right. I can't confirm it any more than.
I think it is right. I think Arsenal got 13. I think Man City's 12. Yeah. So yes, 1-0 to Rich. So second question: home or away?
I'm going to roll the dice. Let's go away.
I mean, again with Man U, you might do all right with away. So what was the biggest margin of victory in a Premier League match for Manchester United?
Can I buzz in?
No.
I'm going to say, I don't know, 7-1.
No, it was against Ipswich Town. And
9.
What was the score, Adam? 9-0. Yeah,
including
9-0.
5 by Andy Cole, I think.
Was it?
With a combined kind of distance from goal of about 16 yards amongst the 5 of them, I reckon.
No, but yes, so home or away, Adam?
Oh, home again.
Home again, okay. When was Manchester United Football Club originally founded as Newton Heath?
18. I want to say 72.
I mean, he's 6 years out. Should we give him a point, or are we saying he's wrong? It's 1878. I mean, that's close. It's close, but he's still 1-0. Still 1-0. Third question: home or away, Rich?
I think I better stick home.
Stick with home. Okay. That's a stupid question. I'm not asking this, but what is the name of Brentford's youth academy? Brentford FC Academy. That's genuinely a question. What is Brentford's record home victory in 1983?
I've no idea. I'm going to take a punt. 5-0.
8-0.
8-0. Who was that against?
Luton Town in 1983.
Jeez.
One for the VHS.
Yeah.
Adam, home or away?
Hang on. What question is this? Is this our third of 5?
Third question. Yeah.
Right.
You're 1-0
Still
down.
only 1 now. Right. Okay. I'll just go home.
You'll stay home. All right. Makes sense.
I'm getting competitive about this. Jesus. Be tactical.
So, who is the most expensive player ever signed by Manchester United?
Pogba?
It is Pogba. You're right. So it's 1-1 with it. I tell you what. Let's not go 5. Let's just make this sudden death. Question number 4. So, Rich, do you want to go home or away?
Okay, well, then let's go away. I'm
You have to go away, don't you? To go all in, go all in. And your chances of it being an easier question is quite high. So, what year did Manchester United sign Cristiano Ronaldo for the first time? I'll give you a clue. It was before you released your debut album. I'm not saying it's a year out, but I'm saying it was before then. Give you a clue.
2004.
2003.
Oh.
So hit the post on that one.
Just living on my nerves here.
Here we go, Adam. You can have a tap in. Go home for a tap in, or you can go away to keep it exciting.
I'm going home. I'm pragmatic.
Going home.
Playing that back 5 again.
Fair enough. To be honest, these questions all look relatively simple. But in what year did Manchester United win their first European Cup?
Oh, I know that one.
68.
It was 68. Well done. You are the winner, home or away. I don't think we're going to play that ever again. But well done.
Do I get to keep that then? Like the Intertoto Cup?
Yeah,
like,
you
get again. That's mine.
I mean, sadly, that game wasn't sponsored, so you won't get a Potions Cauldron thing or anything like that. But you'll always be safe in the knowledge that you won the one game of home and away.
I'll add it to my Blue Sky bio.
Yes, add it. Yeah, please do. Please do. Great.
Can I add runner-up? Does that?
You certainly can. You certainly can.
Yeah.
But
you were hard to beat, Rich.
There we go.
But just said it so I didn't have to.
If it had been a draw, we could have played it.
Yeah.
Missed out on the
Played it
royalties for that.
on your multi-CD player, but sadly we ran out of time. Weren't able to do that. Right, very quickly then. So, update on Bletchley Scott. They're still not playing. They have more weeks off than I don't know what, but they're away to Linslade Galaxy this weekend. So come on, Bletchley, this weekend. But yes, the final bit then we play this game called Shooting Stars in Their Eyes. Where basically we've changed the format over the last couple of weeks, and seen as how Tom has demonstrated his amazing ability at impersonations. This week, Tom, who would you like to be tonight, Matthew? Who would you like to be? Shooting Stars in Their Eyes. You pick a famous footballer from the late 80s, 90s, essentially a city or Swindon. You can pick either of those, or if you just want to be Holloway because you can do a good impression, we can go with that.
Yeah, let's just do Ian Holloway, shall we? Because that's a
Ian
nice,
Holloway.
easy local voice to do like that. I
Great
can't think
stuff.
of any other Swindon players that were actually from Swindon from that era.
Great
Can you
stuff.
do Alan Ball as well? That'd be a nice little contrast.
Yeah, we could mix it up, couldn't we?
Who's the manager? Hey.
So tonight, Matthew, you're going to be Ian Holloway on Shooting Stars in Their Eyes. Again, you don't get this on any other podcast, people. You really don't. So the first question is, what would you do, Ian, if you could be invisible for a day?
Oh, I'd probably go and haunt the county ground, because then my wife would have to come in and burn some sage just to get rid of me. True thing that happened this season for Swindon Town. I don't know if you heard about that.
I didn't. You'll have to say it in an Ian Holloway voice, though.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, apparently we heard that the training ground was haunted, so he had his wife come in. I had my wife come in and burn some sage just to ward off those spirits.
Amazing. And how did that work out for you, Ian?
Well, the team started winning after that. I'm not saying it's got anything to do with it, but we did improve, you know.
Great stuff. So what, if anything, frightens you? Did the spirits frighten you, Ian, or is there anything else frightens you?
No, my wife mainly.
Your wife.
If she thinks somewhere's haunted, and she's burning sage there. Doesn't matter what it is.
Good stuff. Who are your favourite pop stars, Ian?
Are we doing this as if we're back in the 80s?
Yeah, let's go back to the 80s and 90s. Yeah.
Bananarama.
Oh, a great one.
Great. We all love a bit of Bananarama. Robert De Niro's Waiting.
Yeah.
Talking
Italian. Exactly. Great tune. Who's your favourite cartoon character, Ian?
I think it'd have to be the Rinky Dink Panther, wouldn't it?
Oh, indeed. I quite like the Antifa cartoon that was alongside the Pink Panther. That was quite a good one. Yeah. Familiar with that, Ian?
Crazy Legs Crane. Was that?
Yeah. That was a good one as well.
Yeah, we could do with it. We could do with them up front, I reckon. Those long legs.
Bit of a crouchy. Good stuff. And have you ever been mistaken for someone else, Ian?
A lot of people think I'm in that modern newfangled show This Country, and you know I do have enemies in South Cerney and Cerney Wick and North Cerney as well. Ashton Keynes, can't go there. Too many enemies.
I can sense this would be brilliant regionally. Be very good. And who would you most like to meet and why?
Oh, that is a good one. Let's have a think. Somebody from the local area, I reckon. Somebody from Swindon. Should we have a Swindon? I think Mike Summerby. There we go. Mike Summerby from well, he played for Man City and he played for Swindon, as well as and his son Buzzer, Nicky Summerby. Yeah, we go for the two of them. I could do with them in the team at the moment.
Good stuff. And the last question: what was the first car you bought, Ian, and how much did it cost?
Mini Metro, and it cost me $9 bob.
Amazing.
I don't know.
Not a Ford Capri, unfortunately. The Ford Capri is a classic.
Not a Capri gear. I couldn't afford that. No, not on my
How about
wages.
a Capri Sun? Can you afford one of those? Ian? Is that more your thing? Good stuff. Well, thank you. You'll be pleased to know, Tom, that's shooting stars in their eyes over for another week. But thank you. I think 10 out of 10 for your impression. Very, very, very good.
Yeah, I do apologise to everybody.
Yeah, second. I think we should submit this for a BAFTA.
You're gonna have to be careful if you're editing the podcast because people will just think that Ian Holloway joined.
Oh, I know.
Only because we're on video here that we can.
Yeah, exactly.
See the magic of that.
That'd be good. What are you like at impressions, Rich? You got any impressions in your locker?
No, I'm terrible. I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Only the other day I was trying to do an accent to myself, and I thought you're rubbish at this. Absolutely rubbish.
Yeah, I think it's good to be bad at impressions, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I always start every impression by saying, I can't do an impression of this. And then my mates go, yeah, you're right, you can't. That's essentially what I get back. How about you, Adam? Any impressions in your locker?
No, none that I'm going to share here.
No. Fair enough. Okay,
yeah.
we
can have to build trust for that, I think.
Yes, yeah. This Friday morning,
be.
maybe season 2 when we won't be playing home and away. Just to remember that it's never going to happen
somehow.
ever again.
By the way,
there we go.
Just in case you're interested, CD1, Best of Parliament.
Ooh.
Amazing.
Ooh.
Honestly,
now that's hard to beat.
What about CD2?
That's the only one in there.
Oh.
When you've got the Best of Parliament, you don't need 4 other CDs.
You listen to that one over and over again.
I imagine it's the best of Shed 7, the best of the Blue Tones, the best of Chesney Hawks, and Michelle Gale's greatest hits.
Yes. And the best of the horrors as well. Anyone else we need to mention?
Dodgy.
Right, Dodgy. I mean, I absolutely...
A load of lottery winners CDs, right?
Yeah, the lottery winners as well. But yeah, you can't beat Nigel's theme tune for the pod. I think hopefully everyone's heard that. But his theme tune that he did for the pod is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, Rich, if you fancy again, Rick said that he might do us a jingle, but I don't know. Are you in the line for creating jingles for random parts of podcasts?
Yeah,
I think we could do with a good outro.
It'll be very expensive.
We couldn't afford you. We couldn't afford you. We'll wait till we've got our radio version of a BAFTA.
Yeah.
What is that? The Sony? Well, no, it's not even radio. It's podcast now. Who knows what it'll be? Anyway, we can't afford Richie Archer. We've learnt that.
You could do a rework it and call it hard to listen to.
Is that the pod?
But you could put that on various sections of this pod.
I was going to say. I think I was wondering what the title was going to be, but the title's now going to be.
There you go.
We've got it sorted. Anyway, on that bombshell, we're going to wrap things up for another week on this week's very different podcast, but equally enjoyable. I think you'll agree. So thank you once again to Rich, Adam, and Tom for joining us this week on Sing When You're Winning. Good luck in your respective leagues for the rest of the season. Although, Tom, if I end up being in the playoffs, I won't be wishing you too much good luck, but I don't think that's going to happen. It's as much chance as Borough making the playoffs in the Championship, to be fair. Not going to happen.
Who lifts the manager? Who lifts the manager, eh?
Exactly. That's the soundbite I'm going to be using as well. But thanks again, Steve, for pulling all of this together, your top stats and all of this good stuff. And we'll be back next week where we'll be joined by another mystery guest for Easter weekend, as if it gets any more exciting. So look out for next. It'll be a very good Friday when the next Sing When You're Winning it arrives. But enjoy your footballing week. Keep on singing and keep on winning. Goodbye.
Bye.
Cheers,
Bye.
Bye.